on TKO Radio. Good morning. Happy Monday. It's Monday afternoon. It's your girl. I am Chelsea Speaks. We are live in the building. I have none other than the world famous, if you will, attorney Carlos Leach in the building. Put your hands together, y'all. Sexual chocolate.
World famous.
World famous.
I love it.
See, listen, I'm excited to have you in the building. Not only are you one of our first sponsors with the Leach firm, you're an advocate in the community, you're a pillar as well, and you're my brother. So,
there you go.
So big shout out for there. No, I had to go through business as well. So you have a personal injury law firm. A lot of people say they do personal injury law firm. How is the Leach firm different?
We are different because from the moment you contact our office, you will see that we react quickly. You'll speak to an attorney and not some intake person. We'll talk to you about your case, make a decision within a couple of days at the most, and then get moving on the case as soon as you start signing the retainer agreement. We have a rule that we must get started on the case within 24 hours for our investigation, gathering documents, and moving forward with administrative things like contacting the insurance company and stuff like that. Some of the firms I used to work with, some of the bigger ones, they don't get started till a week later.
I was just about to ask, did you develop that rule based off of what you didn't see in smaller firms?
Absolutely. The bigger firms move slower, and it leads to client complaints. Things get lost. Clients make bad decisions. So it's very important that we move quickly.
Okay. So with the pandemic, I'm curious, did you see an influx in personal injury cases with that being the situation across the United States?
Well, so the pandemic led to less traffic.
Okay,
less driving traffic. And that means in response, there were less auto accidents. We probably, out of our personal injury cases, I'd say about 85% are auto accidents. So we did see a decline in auto accidents for sure.
Okay.
I mean, if you think about Atlanta, most people work from home for a significant period of time.
Absolutely.
So that led to a decrease in traffic and a decrease in accidents. But you look outside right now.
Everybody outside.
We back at it.
We back at it. So what about the workers' comp? Did you see a lot more claims there in that area?
No. So
Really?
this was very interesting because many people kept working. And the people who usually are hurt on the job, or your blue collar type workers, or delivery drivers, people work out in the field, they continue to work.
Okay.
In addition, the people that were laid off had already experienced some type of injury or claim already. And those are the people who didn't want to bring a claim against the company while they were still working there.
Okay.
So when they were laid off,
Then.
they decided to push forward with it.
Wow.
Right. So we didn't see a decrease in the work accidents and the work claims.
Okay, wow. So I'm just curious, your whole journey as a lawyer and attorney, when did you first realize that that's really what you wanted to do?
Well, unlike most, there's a story, right?
Okay.
So I wasn't one of these people that went through high school and college just looking to become a lawyer. I kind of stumbled onto it. In fact, I graduated in business.
Wow.
And finance. So the first job I had was working for a loan company.
Oh, how'd that turn out for you?
It started out pretty good, you know. I was a branch management trainee.
Money man.
You know, looking to get my own branch after a year of training. Things are going well, but here's what they didn't tell you. We had to do collection work on all the people that weren't paying their monthly installments.
Oh, that's nerves.
And, you know, it was frustrating because it was the same people over and over and over. So, you know, at first they would tell us tricks like, you know what, if we can qualify them for a refi, refinance the whole loan, you know, that buys them 2 months, put $1,000 in their pocket.
Right.
Which was fine, but what happened was you'd be doing the same thing over
and
again,
over,
like
okay.
4 to 6 months, the same people. And after a while, I just came to the realization that I didn't go to college to be a collection worker.
Okay.
So I started looking for other options, and somebody told me I should try out law school as another alternative.
And there you went through.
Made it through, made good test scores, and after 3 years, I made it through.
3 years.
3 years.
Oh, man. Did you ever think that you would have been in any other career outside of law and then loan, like any other, like?
No, because once you go through law school, you start to see there's different options. You know, obviously we have a firm that represents people for injury cases, whether it's an accident on the job and employment law, right?
Okay.
But other people do other stuff like contract law, you know.
Okay.
Here in Atlanta, entertainment and sports is
Very
big.
big, very big.
Yeah, you know, you can use your law degree for politics, contract work,
So it varies different
Oh
ways.
yeah, you got many options as a lawyer.
Okay. So with the Leach firm, what are the different areas that you guys encompass with all the services that you cover?
Okay, so I touched on it. Our focus is 3 areas. We do employment law, so that could be anything from what we call FMLA, Family Medical Leave Act. You get hurt on the job, or actually not even on the job. You get hurt, you need time off. If the company is at least 50 employees, then they must give you 12 weeks off for certain injuries. Okay?
Wow.
Some employers violate that, or some of them will give it to you, but then they retaliate against you for taking that time off.
Yeah.
So we do those cases. We do wage cases like overtime, minimum wage, or I represent a lot of servers who get stiffed on the tips.
Do you see that a lot?
Oh my God.
What's the biggest amount that you've had to, I guess, represent in terms of that type of case?
So it depends on an individual case. Yeah, I could probably get them 10, 20,000.
Okay.
A class action, we've had millions.
Really?
Oh yeah. Yeah, because once you see a pattern,
that means it's
with
been
one company, they're usually doing it to everybody across the board.
Okay.
So yeah, those cases can be big cases. And the good thing about it is everybody recovers a good amount of money. I'm not talking about, the standard credit card class action where somebody gets $10 or something.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm so sick of getting $10 checks.
No. Now here's what's interesting. Now, are we in Atlanta?
Yes.
All right. So I represent a lot of dancers.
Okay. Now do tell.
I'm going to tell you. So dancers, the industry standard is that they're treated or they're called independent contractors.
Okay.
By the clubs.
Okay.
And so what happens is they don't pay them any pay.
Nothing. So
Nothing.
all they
And
make
so
is
the
what they
dancers
dance.
know this, but most people in the streets have no idea.
Okay.
The club does not give them any pay. In fact, it's the opposite.
They pay the club
They
for being
pay
able to
the
work
club,
there.
right.
Not that I would know.
Yeah, me neither. But and they make them tip out, the DJ, the security guard, the house
They're
mom.
paying to work.
And so the issue from a legal standpoint is, are they really an employee or an independent contractor? If they're deemed by a court to be an employee, then they're owed back wages, okay? Like anybody else, because technically that's a minimum wage violation. So at the very least, they be owed minimum wage for every hour that they work for a maximum of 3 years going backwards. You also can get what we call liquidated damages, which is like kind of double whatever
Okay.
you're owed. So a dancer who works at a club a year and a half could be owed $50,000 easy.
Wow.
And these are big class actions across the country. I've handled hundreds of these cases. They're very lucrative.
Now, how does that conversation go when a dancer comes to you and says, "Hey, can you represent me?" How does that conversation? Do they say, "Hey, I got laid off," or "I"?
Doesn't matter how they left the club.
Okay.
That is irrelevant.
Okay.
The only question is, did the club treat them like an employee, like controlling their hours, telling them they had to be here on a certain day, or retaliating against them because they couldn't come to work or they wanted to leave early? A lot of these clubs will fine the women if they come in late or they need to leave early, which is the opposite of an independent contractor relationship.
Right.
Independent contractors are supposed to come and go as they please.
when they please, right.
Exactly. So that's the issue.
Okay, so they're giving them employee responsibilities and treating them, but then they want to treat them like,
Exactly.
wow.
Yeah, it's a big scheme, and quite honestly, it's a great business scheme until you get popped in the head by a lawyer like me.
I know that's right. So how do they usually respond when you come down the line and say, "Hey, look, I'm trying to represent these dancers"? Do you find it a harder tussle with them versus personal injury law? Like,
It is a little harder with the clubs, because the auto accidents and slip and falls and things like that, they've been going on for so long. Insurance companies, they put a price on the value of the claim.
and that's
Other than fighting over liability, really the main thing that we're trying to do is figure out how much the case is worth.
okay.
Whereas in the dancer cases, a lot of times some of these clubs haven't been sued before for something like that. So they'll fight a little bit, but every now and then, they'll give in. and they'll pay.
I'm pretty sure they'll give
Yeah.
in. They'll give in
Yeah.
after Leach gets
We
them.
can do it the easy way, we can do it the hard way.
You decide either way.
Exactly.
Wow. So for you, what does a normal day look like for you when you wake up and you get to your office? How do your days usually go? Walk me through that.
Well, let me tell you, Monday,
Uh-oh.
like I tell my staff, is go day.
Y'all hear that? You
Yeah.
hear that? Go day.
Monday-
You hear that, Nelly? Go day.
Monday sets the tone.
You see where I get it from?
Because what I found over the years is when people want to talk to a lawyer or their lawyer, they think about it all weekend.
Yes, they do.
And they call you on Monday. So you got to be prepared for emails, calls, everything. So Monday, I tend to try to leave pretty open for that, okay? Because we need to respond to people, answer their questions, figure out what we're doing on the cases, and make sure we're on the same page. Every other day, Tuesday through Thursday, usually doing, case-related stuff, depositions, mediation, settlement conference, court hearings, research, whatever it may be. Then Friday, you'll notice an uptick in the calls again.
Okay.
Right before the weekend. People want to know
Thursday
what's
night,
going
people
on.
have turned up. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
They're thinking about when that check
That
is
check
coming.
coming? Is it this Friday or next Friday?
Exactly. And that's okay. That's okay. It's their case.
Okay, so do you ever get annoyed, or have you gotten past that point because you're so seasoned in what you do where you're like, oh God, it's getting on my nerves? Or are you kind of just steel proof at this point?
I used to when I was younger, but, I keep reminding myself, and I tell this to my staff every time. When people call our office, something bad has happened to them, right? When they need our help, they need our
They
help
ain't
for a
calling
reason.
and say, hey, they calling.
Right.
Yeah.
They've been injured in an accident. They've been hurt badly on the job. They've been laid off. They're wondering how they're going to pay the bills. Whether the house monthly bills, whether
Yeah.
to pay hospital bills.
So they're in pain. They're going through a lot.
There's something going on, right? And we as a firm need to stay focused on why we're doing what we do.
Okay.
And so I tell my staff, some of our clients can get a little edgy, a little over the top on the phone, but constantly remind yourself that they're going through something.
Yeah.
And so once we figure that out and everybody gets on the same page, we're usually pretty good.
Okay.
And so we also have another rule where if a client calls or potential client, we need to respond within 24 hours.
Okay.
And so that kind of helps. Clients are very happy when you call them back.
Yeah.
That is always the number one complaint to any bar association, Georgia bar, Florida bar. Nobody's calling me back. I send an email, nobody responds. So we try to respond within 24 hours so there are no issues.
Okay. So it's safe to say that customer service, going and coming, is very important being a law firm. You don't usually think that a law firm is thinking about customer service, but that kind of controls how your clients feel and the temperature
Yes.
of everything by having those type of good customer service skills.
So I tell everybody in my office, we're business first. We provide a service. We just happen to be a law firm. Okay? So it's a business providing a service to clients who are in need. We just happen to be a law firm.
Write that down for me, Caprice. I got to say that in my notes. My family said that.
It's the truth. So once you stay focused like that and you understand that the customers are the reasons why we're in business, it's the same thing if you go into the grocery store.
Yeah.
They providing goods and services to you. You make them happy, they're going to keep coming back, and you're going to grow your business.
I know that's right. Well, we are locked in right now, 101 TK Radio with attorney Carlos Leach in the building, giving us all the scoop on the Leach firm. So stay locked right here. We're going to take a short music break, but we'll be back in a minute. Stay locked. Oh, y'all be on point.
Yeah.
How's he doing?
Good.
Okay.
Doing good.
101 TKO Radio, good afternoon. We are back in the building with attorney Carlos Leach. He about to take my job. You see how he sit up at the microphone? He sit like he coming from my spot. You see where I get it from? I'm shaking in my boots. Talking about what's on the agenda. I don't know. I'm going to check and see.
Chell, it's not my first rodeo.
Clearly, he got those polished answers. No, but we're excited to have you. We were talking about your personal injury law firm, the Leach firm, and now we got to talk about some more about the political climate of law, period. It's a lot of stuff going on. How are you feeling just in general before I dive in?
Very frustrated. Very frustrated.
Do tell.
Well, I mean, we've all known that the justices on the Supreme Court, the makeup, background, things like that, right? We were aware of that. But until his recent ruling on Roe v. Wade, we didn't think that they would move that quickly to overturn it, especially when the last two justices who were appointed testified under oath
Now.
that they thought Roe v. Wade was the law of the land and they did not intend to overturn it. And within a year or two, they did exactly that.
Now, do you think that they were just bluffing? Obviously, they were bluffing when they didn't think it'd be overturned because it's been overturned. So
I think they lied. I don't think they were bluffing on anything.
So they just flat out.
I think they flat out lied under oath.
Okay.
So the Supreme Court for decades has had a theory called stare decisis, where there's an unwritten rule where they rarely ever will go back and overturn a prior holding unless something significant changes.
Okay.
So whenever there's a certain holding on an issue by the court, they'll maintain that and follow that unless something dramatically
happens.
changes.
Yeah.
Right. But here, there was nothing dramatic that changed about the case from Mississippi. They just
decided
that Roe v. Wade was flawed. In essence, they disagreed with the court's holding that the Constitution didn't provide these types of rights, and it's up to the states to provide these rights.
How do you personally feel about that? I don't think it should be.
I think it's dangerous.
Yeah.
Because as you saw from Justice Thomas, who we all know how he is, this might open the floodgates, and the court can now go back and look at all other
kind of
types
laws,
of cases.
all kind of precedents back in,
Exactly. So nothing's safe now, and same-sex marriage, which was just decided a few years ago, might be back on the agenda soon. Who knows?
Yeah. So in other words, it wasn't just the fact that we're talking about abortion. It's also the fact that it shows that the justice system has the ability to have something in place and then flip it at any minute.
Exactly. And so if you understand that a Supreme Court justice is on there for life,
then
you understand that it's very hard to get another justice on the bench. And so once there's a makeup of how it is typically now, 6 conservative, 3 liberal judges, to alter that it's gonna take some years.
Yeah.
And so presidential elections have a huge effect because the president appoints Supreme Court justices, which have to be approved by the Senate.
Wow. So let me ask you this. So I have a lot of friends who say they're not into politics. How do you get people who are not so much concerned about politics, get them kind of back into it, or lead them back to explain to them how it does affect them? Because a lot of people are like, well, I don't want nothing to do with it.
I get it. Most people between 18 to 28 probably feel that way, right? They don't see how it directly affects them, but it does, directly and indirectly. And if you just have a conversation with people about what's most important to them, then you can explain to them how it trickled down from the top, whether it's federal law or state law.
Or state law.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So do you think, I'm just curious from your personal opinion, do you think that it should be a state's decision to decide, or should it just be one general rule across the board? We're going to allow abortions, or we're not going to allow abortions?
I think it just depends on what it is. But that issue itself, I think, should be a federal issue, for sure. Some of the states that people live in, myself included in Florida, have swung to one side so far.
Yeah.
You couldn't count on that state to protect people's due process and rights like that.
Yeah, because that's not even on their radar. Yeah.
No. Georgia has been that way traditionally. It's only till recently they got two senators on the Democratic side. Right.
So how do you feel about Biden's leadership in this particular stint in his leg of his presidency?
I have mixed reviews on it. I think he's done some really good stuff. I think he's been dealt with a lot. Obviously the inflation is a big issue. Supply and demand was a big issue. The example, the baby formula, that popped
That
on him
was-
really fast.
yeah.
The war in Ukraine.
He couldn't handle.
Yeah, you can't anticipate that. That being said, when you're the president,
Yeah.
these are the types of issues you have to
You
deal
signed
with.
up for, yeah.
So I think he's done a decent job. The other thing that I'm kind of disappointed with is that he has at least 50% Democrats in the Senate, which means he can push some stuff through.
Yes,
And
yes.
I'd like him to take a harder stance on doing that. We got midterms coming up in November, and all it takes is one seat to flip to Republican, and that's a problem for him because
And
he's
for
not going to be
everybody.
able to get anything through the
They
Senate.
ain't gonna push nothing through at that point.
Nothing. And he does some good things, but he won't speak on it.
Yeah.
You know?
He doesn't really speak on. He'll do, but as far as verbalizing,
Yeah.
you're not gonna see him really give a whole speech about where he stands
No,
with it.
his predecessor, if he did anything,
Look,
he was
Trump-
having a
Trump
show.
was finna let you know he gonna
Exact-
call the band, Twitter,
exactly.
everybody. He was a social media advocate himself, so at least I can't say I hate to say it, don't beat me up. But Trump understood the power of social media.
Oh, yeah.
So for you as an attorney, how has social media affected your business?
Oh, it's completely taken over my business.
Really?
Absolutely. We run social media blogs. We run social media
Oh, you
ads.
guys do blogs too? Wow.
We do everything. Oh, yeah.
Wow. See, I told you we need a blogger.
Yeah. Facebook, Instagram, all of that. About to add TikTok.
So it's you about to be on TikTok, bro?
You got to do it.
I told y'all.
You got to do it. You get left behind.
You have to, and I explain to people all the time. You got to be involved in social media for your business to grow. So for you, do you educate yourself on it, or is it you
Yes.
actually posting? Okay.
So I have a company that they do all of my social media posts.
Okay.
Okay, on all of those mediums that I just told you about. I provide them content, but then they go, edit it, review it, and post it.
Okay. So how do you define content in your field of work? Well, give me an example of what some good content would be.
Well, one thing I've learned over the years is educating a potential client or a client is the best way to grab their attention. So, most people don't know much about employment law.
Yeah.
But I'll give them, frequently asked questions, unknown facts. Like, for example, people don't have any clue on what we call the statute of limitations or how
Yeah.
long they have to bring a claim. And a lot of the employment statute of limitations are really brief.
Okay.
For example, if you feel you've been discriminated against based off your race, your religion, pregnancy, disability, you got 180 days to bring a claim and file it with the EEOC
Really?
in Georgia. If you don't do that, you waive those claims. And that's not something people think about. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they're not thinking about how long they have to actually make the complaint. They're too busy complaining to somebody.
Exactly. A lot of times I'll find when we do posts like that, or we talk about wage claims or any of those related claims, people respond and they chat. And they'll ask me, hey, this happened to me. What about this?
Yeah.
So I pique their interest, give them information so they can respond to and see if it affected them.
Wow.
Yeah.
The most interesting thing for me has been scrolling Facebook and seeing the stripper flyer. And I've been like, bro, that's my brother's flyer, need workers' comp. But I mean, I get it because it caught my attention.
So most people think that that's a joke. It's a legitimate, serious issue that we
Yeah.
talked about earlier.
Yeah.
Dancers almost always have been misclassified as independent contractors, and they don't realize it
Yeah.
until we discuss it, and I tell them what a potential claim is and whether it affected them individually.
Okay. So what do you feel like is, I think, the biggest misconception about personal injury law?
I think a lot of people think that lawyers are just out there for the money. The money's good. Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. The money's really good. But, we're putting people's lives back together. When I got a guy here in Atlanta that was hit by an Amazon truck, and he needs some serious surgery right now.
Wow.
And he's about to get laid off from his job. And his wife and I and him, we talked about a week ago about a game plan to get him through this. Meeting with his job, getting him the best medical care, what to expect going forward after the surgery, and what the value of his case was. So we put together a plan just for him.
Okay.
So that's the misconception that we see, but it's an important role that we play for our clients going forward, because I tell people, usually you only have one case, and you
Yeah.
got to make it count.
I told it to my ex, but you see, I'm single, bro. So I don't know. So you got one time.
it might be the best for you.
You right. You
And
right.
him.
Look, hold on now. Whose side you on?
I'm just saying. Some people not cut out for that.
This is true, very true. But
Yeah.
look, when we come back, I want to ask some questions about business and how you decide to sponsor a business, because a lot of people ask me questions. How do you get sponsors? How do you get people to sign up to participate in your business? So when we come back in just a second, we're going to talk some more with attorney Carlos Leach of the Leach firm on 101 TKO Radio, knocking out the box. I wish I would have
Yeah.
That's interesting. You wouldn't think about that when you think of personal injury. You would not think of that career.
Yeah. Well, that's more employment law, though.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
One TKO Radio feels like candy. That song is going on and on and on and on. So before we go further, once again, like I said, I have attorney Carlos Leach in the building. Hand clap one time. Now I gotta ask you 3 questions.
All right, I'm
that
ready.
I ask all my guests.
Uh-oh.
It's gonna be real awkward for me to ask my brother.
Just don't ask me for money.
Okay, again, I'm sorry. There's a long count, and I'm playing. All right, first question: who was your celebrity crush?
Ooh. Now or then?
You can do then and now.
Gabrielle Union was always at the top.
Okay.
Oh, my God.
Okay.
Yes. That's now and then.
Okay, then and now. Okay, then and now. Okay,
Yeah.
second question. Now listen to the question when I ask you now.
All right.
What is your favorite position?
Of what?
Good job. That's what I'm talking about. Most people go to the physical aspect. I say CEO.
I was about to say the same thing.
Thank you. See, that's how you know he's an attorney. He ain't finna
Entrepreneur.
answer. Entrepreneur. Okay.
That's
okay.
right.
All right. And then last question: if you could live anywhere outside the United States, where would it be?
Ooh, that's a good one. I always thought about buying a retirement home in the Dominican Republic.
Okay. He's Dominican. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Definitely.
DR.
Yeah.
Okay.
You get houses relatively cheap
Okay.
over there.
Okay.
Cost of living is low.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Just need security. That's all you need.
Well, I'm sure you can get
A machete.
a machete, a couple machetes walking around in the
Well,
backyard.
they give the teenagers a machete when they turn like 15
Yeah,
or
they just
16.
walk around.
They get a machete for their birthday.
Wow, I want a cell phone. They get a machete. What?
In elementary, I used to, my uncle gave me machetes to go in the back and cut down sugar cane.
And just cut down.
Yeah. Culture.
Well, I mean, I did go to Honduras one time for a mission trip, and I saw the kids walk around with machetes, and they were just swinging it like it
Absolutely.
was just
Yep.
a part of life.
Mm-hmm.
So you be in DR.
Most likely.
Okay, all right, we'll take that. So those are our 3 questions. So now let's get back to a little more conversation before we knock this thing out.
All right.
Now, a lot of companies say they want business investors and sponsors and things like that. From a business standpoint, what are the things that you look for when you decide to invest in a company or invest in a business?
Invest as like to grow money or to have sponsor, do I want to sponsor other businesses?
Both.
Well, one thing I said when I opened up my firm almost 5 years ago, I was going to try to make a difference in the community, right? Because I feel like if I'm going to be representing people in that community and we make profits off of them, then we need to be a partner in that community too. So whenever we can, we sponsor a ton of stuff, whether it's something affiliated with a church. One of my biggest things is I like youth sports.
Okay.
So I deal with a lot of Pop Warner football teams, cheerleader groups, basketball teams, anything to help kids stay focused, working hard, that type of stuff, keep them away from being idle.
Yeah.
Group trips. We do a lot of that.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's your commitment to the community as well.
Absolutely.
So what's the best way for a new business to approach a business and ask for sponsorship? What are some tips you can give to other new businesses who are like, how do I get into it, or how's the conversation? How should that go?
Well, here's the thing. Once your business gets rolling, you have no problem. You don't have to
Asking for
approach
money.
anybody, right? People are going to ask you for money, okay?
Oh, God.
Yeah, so once you establish a name, and a reputation of doing well financially, people are going to come to you for a lot.
Okay.
But remember what I said earlier. You're business first no matter what, right? So we are a law firm, but we're business first. And so any business should have a budget. So what we do is we have a budget on how much we spend on promotional events and sponsorships every month.
Okay.
And I try to plan that out for the entire year. And there are certain times of the year where we have to spend more money on that. But we factor that in.
Okay.
And once we max out on that, then I don't do it anymore.
Right. That's it.
That's it. The business got to survive and maintain a certain amount of profit first. Because if you don't,
then ain't nobody getting nothing.
Ain't money.
Ain't nobody
Right.
getting nothing.
So yes, we budget out how much we can spend within our means, and we stick to that.
So you build into the business model. Your
Yes.
community is embedded in that. Fair to say.
Once you do so many years of it, you have a good idea of what things are going to cost.
Okay.
And you have an idea of what types of events you want to get behind and sponsor, right? Obviously, things change from year to year, but for the most part, you'll know how much you can spend on those types of events.
Okay. Okay. And so for you, what are some of the teams that you actually sponsor right now?
Some of the teams?
Yes.
Well, we're about to start dealing with a team here in Atlanta. I can't recall the name of the Pop Warner football team, but they're here close to the 285 here.
Okay.
Back in Florida, I've got I've got multiple teams. Popka, Youth Sports. I got Central Florida Tigers. I got the Sanford football team.
How do you keep up with it all?
Well, they won't let you forget. Let's put it that way.
They gonna let you know.
No, they won't let you forget. But some of the people that work with me as marketers, those groups directly affected their lives.
Okay.
So it's easy for them to convince me to participate in that, right?
Gotcha.
Or sometimes we have former clients that are heavily involved in those issues. And so when I talk to these people and we discuss, how we can be a benefit and see what it does for the kids. Like, for example, if I deal with a Pop Warner coach, I want him to tell me, what's going on with his program. Is he making sure that the kids do well in school or they don't play?
Right.
What does he do for disciplinary issues? If there's something going on at school or away from school, does he sit the kid?
So you actually get into the whole
Absolutely.
program and how it's actually really treating the kids
Absolutely.
from ground up. You want to know kind of start to finish. What do you, not just taking the money, but how are you treating these kids with the money we give you?
I want to be associated with a club or a team that's making a difference, not just in the wins and losses.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? We need to be raising kids to have discipline, to work hard, be good teammates.
So for you, I know you're an attorney, obviously, but you're a father, you're a husband. How do you juggle all of those things? I know Sophie and Marcus both play sports. So how do you manage it all? How do you keep your nerves together?
You can figure it out. Just get a schedule. I've gotten pretty good at my schedule over the years. I time block everything.
Okay.
Yeah, and I try to stick to it.
Okay.
I don't let my staff deviate from it either.
Okay, so you block out, I'm doing this.
Oh, yeah. Standard events every week. Here's what I'm going to do my calls to my clients in the morning. Here's what I'm going to meet with clients in or out of the office by phone. Here's what I'm going to do my settlement closings. Here's what I'm going to do depositions. As much as I can, I try to keep it consistent.
Okay.
That way people respect my time, because time
is the most valuable.
Is the most important resource you have. And as your business grows, people want to rob you of that time.
Yeah.
But you just got to tell them politely, I'm sorry, this is the time I block out for this. If you can't fit it within there, I'll schedule something in the future.
Okay.
But time, you got to know what's most important to you and do those things first.
So I'm curious, you said one of my favorite words, marketing. When you sit down with your marketing team, how do those conversations go? Do you have someone that says, hey, these are the insights, here's how we're doing on this platform? Or how does that marketing conversation go for a law firm or like on your business?
Well, remember, it's a business first. So you use the same principles any other business would. What's the budget? What's the return on investment? We use certain measurements like cost per lead, cost per acquisition, all of that stuff. You need to track everything, or otherwise you don't know the real cost.
Okay.
Okay? So you got to track every little thing, from the potential new client to the new client signing up, cost for this, that. You need to know a number on everything. And as you go in time, you'll have a better idea of where to spend your money.
Okay.
That's what I advise people to do. Track everything, know the exact cost of everything, and then obviously, depending on what kind of business you use, you want to know what the return is. Right, so if something costing more on the front end, but you're not getting as much on the back end,
then it's
do you
not
really
making
need
sense.
it?
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
So those are the types of things we do.
Okay. And so I'm just curious, for you being a leader, how do you handle days where your staff may not be not compliant? Because I'm pretty sure they're most compliant for the most part. But how do you continue to lead and still make sure the people under you still like you, they're still rocking with you? Because that can be a very stern field.
Well, one, it starts with hiring the right people. Certain people have a good resume, but they might not be a good fit. So I always tell people during an interview, I'm looking for the right fit more than just your resume, okay? And, I'll check with people to see what, who gives recommendations and reputations on things like that. But once they're there, you set the expectations. The other thing we do at my firm is I try to give people, I won't say quotas, but there's certain numbers and measurables they have to do. And that way, if you either meet it or you don't.
Yeah.
Right? Now, you might need to adjust it from time to time, but you let it be known, well known, that these are the measurables I need you to meet in different areas. And then you review that every period to see if they met it. If there's a problem, you might need to adjust it. But if you're constantly not meeting the numbers, then they probably don't need to remain at your business.
Remain there.
But the other thing I will say is I try to make all of my staff have some type of incentive goal. So if they meet the goal, there's a reward there.
Right.
Everybody in my office is bonused out in some sort of way.
Okay.
Whether it's an attorney, paralegal, staff member, even my intake people who deal with people on the phones and on the emails.
Wow. Even something incentive for them as well. So every level has something.
Every level has a goal.
Okay.
Otherwise, you're just going through the motions.
Yeah. Yeah.
And and that's on both sides, because I need to know if they're going to meet a certain number, but they need to know too.
Yeah.
Right, because otherwise, how do they know if they're doing well or not?
Yeah.
You'll be surprised
How many
if
people
people
think
do bad and they think they're doing good at the
And you
job.
tell them it's real humbling.
Exactly. But if you don't give them the measurements, then that's really on you.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
that's the thing. Give them a goal that's attainable and reward them for meeting that goal.
I love that. So where can we find out more about the Leach firm? Where can we book our consultation? How can the people get in touch with you?
Easiest way
And
is
not hitting me up either.
they can do both.
All right.
Yeah.
I'll take a referral lead.
No comment. No, the easiest way is to go to our website, theleachfirm.com, THE.
Okay.
Or, like I said, you can reach us on Facebook, Instagram, or they could call us 844-7-CARLOS. So multiple ways to reach us. TikTok soon.
TikTok soon.
Yeah. Remember, we're both in Florida and Georgia.
And Georgia.
So, but sometimes we take cases across the country. It just depends.
Depends on.
But the bread and butter is Georgia and Florida, without a doubt.
Who do you think has the most business right now?
Well, we just opened an office in Georgia about a year and a half ago. So Florida got the head start, but Georgia's definitely catching up. I can
Okay.
see us hiring more people very soon.
Wow, already?
Yeah. Let me tell you, some of these corporations are greedy. Crooks.
So they got a whole lot of undoing that can be done.
They'll never stop cutting corners, ever.
I mean, as long as Georgia's an at-will state, then they're gonna. Do you think at-will has something to do with the way they treat employees?
No, I think they just want to cut corners.
Okay.
And a lot of times it's the same wrongdoers over and over and over.
Okay.
The good companies are good companies. The bad companies aren't.
Yeah.
And that's never going to stop.
That's just human nature. You good,
Right.
you good, you bad, you bad.
Well, it keeps me in business.
I know that's right.
That's right.
Yes, it keeps us in business.
That's right. That's right.
Well, we appreciate you for coming in. We appreciate you being one of our top sponsors. Of course, you always have my back. So I look forward to supporting anybody out there. If you have a personal injury case, a workers' comp case, or whatever the case may be. What I missed? Did I leave
Employment.
An employment case. Dancer case, I like to call it. If you have an employment case, definitely reach out to the Leach firm. Reach for a Leach is what it's all about. You guys, thank you for tuning in. It's your girl, I am Chelsea Speaks on the 101 TKO Radio, the Women of Dope Morning Show. I'll be back on Wednesday. Holla. Woo!
Good stuff.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Out of all my ventures, I think this one might work.